in the aftermath of a thrilling Week 11, there is plenty more college football excitement on tap as we head down the home stretch of the regular season. In Saturday's early slate, Alabama and Penn State will look to bounce back from their first losses of the year, while the afternoon games are highlighted by an SEC tilt between Georgia and Auburn and a Big Ten clash between undefeated Minnesota and 6-3 Iowa. That all leads up to a battle for Big 12 supremacy when undefeated Baylor welcomes higher-ranked Oklahoma to McLean Stadium for a game that will have sweeping ramifications on the college football playoff picture. Hello, friends, and welcome to a very exciting edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. It's Week 12. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Sometime later on, we will have Michael Bullock, I'm sure. Should he come in, we will catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him tomorrow night for the Friday Night Cerebral Smack Talk. But for right now, Week 12, several exciting games. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. The first of 6 high noon games to get into. And we started off with the now number 5 Alabama Crimson Tide squaring off against the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field in Starkville. High noon over on ESPN. And while I wait for this to load, okay. On the call for that one, it will be Steve Levy, Brian Griese, Todd McShay, and Molly McGrath. Alabama opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. Really no big surprise there. So let's get into this first game of the week. It's Bama. I mean, how will Alabama respond? In terms of sheer talent, the Crimson Tide should steamroll a 4-5 Bulldogs team that has already suffered blowouts against Auburn and LSU. However, if the Tide come out flat on the heels of their loss to LSU, the Mississippi State running game could make them pay. Bulldogs junior Kylan Hill leads the SEC with 1,027 rushing yards, and he piled up 234 yards and 3 touchdowns against Arkansas 2 weeks ago. Alabama will win, but Mississippi State might just actually cover the spread here. But at the end of the day, though, it's Bama. No question about it. 38-24. I got Bama bouncing back from that demoralizing loss to LSU in a game, MF, that we called it the game of the century, and boy, howdy, was it the game of the century. Wow.
It absolutely lived up. At first it looked like it was going to be the dud of the century. LSU jumped them wicked early, took a huge lead, dominated the game. At one point, we were like, "Oh my God, they're gonna kick the doors off of Tuscaloosa on them." But Alabama showed that fight of a warrior, the fight of a champion. Why they did not want to give up. They hung tough. At the end of the day, yeah, LSU was able to slam the door and knock out Alabama in what was a 5-star classic. And now Bama has to turn around and, play that style, play that type of game. We don't know what we're going to get here. So I'm going to go with Alabama. I think they're going to easily win this game. They're going to be really revved up. But the thing is, are they going to have Tua Tagovailoa? Tua he did not look like himself. It literally looked like a shell of himself in the game. A noticeable limp. Definitely the ankles bothering him. I don't think he should have played against LSU. I think they rushed him too quick. Hopefully they don't rush him in this game. Hopefully they'll get a big enough lead in order to slam the door. But we'll go from there. Nothing more to say. So, Anthony, let's move on.
And we move on to our next game in MF. You'll start it off. Only fitting because it's a Big Ten game. We all know you in the Big Ten. High noon over on ABC. The number 9 Penn State Nittany Lions back at home at Beavers Stadium in Happy Valley. They will be hosting a 7-2 Indiana Hoosier team. Now, keep in mind the rankings are by the College Football Playoff rankings. I believe they're ranked in the AP, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think they're 24 from what I read. So, but yeah, Indiana Hoosiers at 7-2. Go figure. This one is over on ABC. We got Jason Benetti, Rod Gilmore, and Quint Kessenich. They will have it. Penn State opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. MF, I mean, speaking of, I mentioned Alabama and Penn State at the top of the show. We talked about Bama. Now Penn State.
Yeah.
How do they recover after that demoralizing loss of their own on the road at Minnesota? And again, that ended up being another 5-star classic.
And the thing is, Minnesota deserved it. They earned it. They worked their asses off to get that game. Sorry, pardon my French. But they deserve the win. They deserve this game, and no doubt about it, they were the better team. Now Penn State goes up against Indiana, and Indiana's sneaky good, guys. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we kind of had to keep a close eye on is that, yes, I think we're going to see it, but I'm going to say it. I think I'm going to go with Penn State to win it because they're at home. But, man, this could be down to the wire, man. This could be close. They got it as a 14-point spread. I'm going to say it closer than what the experts have it. I got Penn State winning this one 31-24. Anthony, it's yours.
Were it not for Minnesota, Indiana might be the surprise of the year out of the Big Ten. The Hoosiers have already matched their best record since 2007 and still have 3 games left to play. That said, the loss of quarterback Michael Penix Jr. will make it a lot harder for the Hoosiers to remain competitive against Penn State, even with Peyton Ramsey, who started all of last season for Indiana. Look for Penn State's Shaka Toney and Yatir Gross-Matos to lead a furious defensive effort after the Nittany Lions gave up a season-high 31 points against Minnesota. Penn State will look to make a statement against Indiana in this one. The Hoosiers are ranked. Yep, they are ranked. They are ranked for the first time since 1994 after winning 4 straight to improve to 7-2. However, that recent stretch came against Rutgers, Maryland, Nebraska, and Northwestern, who are a combined 3-23 in Big Ten play. Penn State is a different animal, and it will be out for vengeance after last week's loss to Minnesota. 37-13, Penn State over Indiana. Nothing more to say. Let's move on to the first half of a rare SEC on CBS doubleheader. The number 11 Florida Gators on the road against the Missouri Tigers at Farrott Field at Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. CBS, high noon, first half of the SEC on CBS doubleheader. Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Rick Neuheisel, John Schriffen. They'll all be there for that. Florida opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. So really nothing more to throw down here. But I got to go with Florida here. I mean, we talked about Missouri has lost 3 in a row by a combined score of 77-21, and Georgia shut out the Tigers last week. The Gators present an equally daunting task, fresh off a 56-0 thrashing of Vanderbilt. To their credit, the Tigers are 5-0 at home on the year, but covering the 6.5 to 7.5 point spread will be tough. That goes double if Kelly Bryant with a hamstring cannot go again after the quarterback missed the Georgia game. So based on this, I'm going with Florida. Florida should win this one rather handily, I think. So I'm going to go 35-17, Florida over Missouri. Nothing more to say. MF. Florida had that demoralizing loss to Georgia in Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. And last week, boy, They took it out on poor Vandy. Ooh, 56-0 beatdown. Oofa. MF, let's get your thoughts.
I agree. I'm gonna go with Georgia, Florida as well. I mean, they. The thing is, remember they lost in the world largest cocktail party, and they came close enough where they could have won that game. So obviously, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here. But I'm gonna go with Florida as well. Nothing more to say. Anthony, go.
And MF, you lead off the next one. Fitting, another Big Ten game. It's like you're getting all the Big Ten games here.
They love me. They love me in the Big Ten.
It is your conference in football, that is.
Yep.
But high noon, Big Ten Network, the number 14 Wisconsin Badgers, trap game on the road, big trap game. They're squaring off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska. This one will be over on BTN, the Big Ten Network. Kevin Kugler, Matt Millen, Rick Pizzo, they will have it. And Wisconsin opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. MF, Wisconsin, they survived against Iowa at home. But now you got a trap game against a much improved Nebraska team from that disastrous year they had a year ago.
Yeah, and actually a disastrous start for Nebraska too. They were not looking good earlier in the year, and then Nebraska has, like you said, Anthony, they're not as good as you think they are. They've lost 3 in a row going into this game. So I don't know about that, Florio. I think you might want to rethink your last quote there. So I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna openly say I'm gonna go with Wisconsin. Nothing more to say, Florio. Go.
Fair enough. I just mean, they're 4-5 as opposed to that. What, they win like one game last year or something like that. But I'm just saying. But anyways, coming off a bye, Wisconsin snapped a 2-game losing streak last week against Iowa. Nebraska is just 1-4 in its last 5 games, and it's gotten smoked by Ohio State 48-7 and Minnesota 34-7 along the way. The Cornhuskers' 83rd ranked rushing defense at 173.7 yards a game will have no answer for Jonathan Taylor, who will top 200 yards on the ground for a second straight week. Wisconsin rolls 30-13. So let's move on to our next matchup. Well, a Big Ten game that I actually start off on. And this one, this is the rivalry right here. High noon on Fox. It's the big noon on Fox there. The number 15 Michigan Wolverines back at home in the big house at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. And they're hosting their hated rivals from East Lansing. You know them, the Michigan State Spartans. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft. They will have it. And MF, I think you'll be very encouraged when I say that Michigan is opening up as a 13.5-point favorite. There's clearly a typo on my spreadsheet here. They have Michigan State as a 13.5-point favorite. And I'm like, that cannot be right. So it's Michigan. Michigan is the 13.5-point favorite, not Michigan State. So let's clear that air right there. So, but anywho, this is one of the big games of the week here. Now, this game doesn't have quite the shine as some of the other rivalry games to be played this season, but that won't matter once the Spartans and Wolverines kick things off in the big house. Michigan has rebounded nicely from its loss to Penn State, downing Notre Dame and Maryland by a combined score of 83-21. Michigan State, meanwhile, is reeling after losing 4 straight Big Ten contests, giving up at least 28 points in each loss. That suggests they'll struggle again against Shea Patterson and company, but never discount little brother. Expect the Spartans to hang tough for a while in a pride game. Now, remember when Michigan State was ranked? It seems so long ago that the Spartans were 4-1 before consecutive losses to Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Penn State sent them tumbling. A loss to Illinois last week dropped them below 500. And their lack of offensive firepower will make it tough to keep up with the Wolverines, who are coming off impressive back-to-back wins. So I'm going with Michigan to win this one. I'm going to go 27-17. Michigan over Michigan State. So nothing more to say. MF, Michigan State declining. Your boys are on the rise, and I expect they'll make it 3 in a row rather handily.
Well, I hope so, because if there's any game other than Ohio State that I want more than anything else, it's the Sparty. Sparty has done me in so many times in the past that's left me very depressed and very pissed off. We all remember the infamous punt block that led to the scoop and score that broke Michigan's hearts in the big house a few years ago. I'm still reeling over that, Florio. So, obviously, Michigan is definitely on the rise after a nice bounce back where we almost could have beaten Penn State. We could have won that game. We were right there. But a couple of plays didn't go our way. We lost. Then we under siege Notre Dame. We under sieged Maryland. I think it's going to be a little closer because obviously Sparty's going to want to make this interesting. But the ultimate goal is to under siege them as well. Are we going to do it? We'll wait and see. But I do have Michigan winning the game as well. Nothing more to say, Florio. It is yours.
And MF will lead off on our final 12 noon game from the Big 12. Back in the top 25, we have the number 22 Oklahoma State Cowboys at home, Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, hosting the Kansas Jayhawks. This is a high noon game over on FS1. We got Dan Hellie and Ben Lieber on the call, and trying to find the spread for this one. Oklahoma State opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. So, MF, Oklahoma State back in the top 25. First time in a while for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, and the thing is, the reason why they got it, 2 wins in a row, but more importantly, it's who they beat to get there. All right, Iowa State, not so good of a team. I mean, they're kind of a 500 team, no doubt about it. But they knocked off TCU, and that was kind of a partial rivalry game and everything else. And the thing is that's what got them back in. Now they got to play them. Then they got West Virginia. And then at the end, on Thanksgiving weekend, Oklahoma.
Bedlam.
Woo-hoo. You already know how that goes down.
Yeehaw.
It gets ugly when we yell Bedlam. So, I mean, we talk about the Red River, Bedlam. When that happens, look out. Just, look out below, high under the covers. This is where basically it's gonna get nuts. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So, absolutely no doubt about it. Good battles coming up, but I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, Oklahoma State. I think they're gonna win it. I think they'll get the job done. Nothing more to say. Florio, go.
The Cowboys have won back-to-back games after a 1-3 start to conference play and get to take on Big 12 cellar dwellers Kansas and West Virginia over the next 2 weeks. Kansas ranks 126th against the run, and Oklahoma State averages 267.7 rushing yards a game. That's not ideal for the Jayhawks. Oklahoma State rolls 44-24. Nothing more to say. Now let's get into one of our big games of the week. Oh, and it's only fitting I start this one off. This is, in my heart, the game of the week because of the matchup here. I love this matchup. My team, the number 16, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, back at home at Notre Dame Stadium. But boy, howdy, they have a tough one coming in. the now number 23 midshipman of the Navy. Notre Dame on NBC. You know who works this. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Chris Sims, Catherine Tappan. They'll be there at Notre Dame Stadium as always. And the spread favors, well, obviously it favors Notre Dame, obviously. 8.5-point spread for the Irish. So, all right. Now I'm going to be honest with you folks. And you too, MF. When the schedule came out, I had this penciled in as an easy win. I really did. I was confident as confident could be. Fast forward to the here and now. If you were to ask me, confident, I would say to you, no, I'm not confident. I'm an Osiris wreck. You kidding me? I'm not as confident as I once was. I'm an Osiris wreck now, folks. Oh, look what the Navy has done. Goodness gracious. And for the first time in a long time, I got to be honest. I got to say it. To quote the late, great Stuart Scott, NMF, I'm scared. I am very, very scared. Who saw this as a ranked matchup ahead of the season? The midshipmen run the nation's top-rated rushing offense, 357 yards a game, by way of its vaunted triple option attack. How will that fare against a Notre Dame defense that gives up an average of 160 rushing yards a game while allowing 9 touchdowns and forcing 17 fumbles? If Navy quarterback Malcolm Perry can play keep away well enough, you could see a low-scoring game that comes down to the wire. Ian Book will have to make the most of the Irish's scoring opportunities. The Fighting Irish have one of the countries. That will be a non-factor Saturday. The midshipmen have attempted just 62 passes all season while averaging 357.9 yards a game on the ground. The triple option offense is alive and well, folks. In its loss to Michigan a few weeks ago, Notre Dame allowed 303 rushing yards, and its rush defense ranks a pedestrian 62nd. The pieces are there for an upset. I would not be surprised if Navy were to pull it off. But now, if this was at the Navy, then I would pull the trigger for an upset. But Notre Dame Stadium, Notre Dame, I believe, has won 15 or 16 consecutive home games. They haven't lost a home game since, I believe, 2016 to, of all teams, the Dukies. And we saw what Notre Dame did against the Dukies a week ago. So I'm going to go with, my gut's telling me to call for the upset here with Navy, but I got to go with my heart. I'm a Notre Dame guy. I got to go with my Notre Dame heart. It will not be easy, but Notre Dame, I think, will survive because of that home magic, that mojo. So I think it'll be similar to what they did against Virginia Tech. I could easily see this being that type of game here again. 24-20, Notre Dame, I think, will just barely survive the Navy. And the Navy, MF, they will certainly give them one hell of a try. So 24-20, Notre Dame wins. But MF, I'm not confident anymore. I'm an Osiris wreck going into this thing.
Look, I'm going to say this. It's not going to be the easiest game for Notre Dame. This is going to be an absolute fight. This is going to be an absolute brawl, and who knows? This could be an upset, no doubt about it. But Notre Dame normally plays really well at home, and you even said it. And I just don't see them dropping this game. I don't. I'm sorry. I actually think that Notre Dame is going to win this game. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go as far to say I think they'll win this one pretty comfortably by at least 2 touchdowns. 2 to 3 touchdowns, as a matter of fact. I think Notre Dame has learned from their mistakes. I think they've learned from their opportunities and their mistakes. I think they'll finally put it all together. I think it's going to be close at the beginning. That's going to make you nervous, Floyo. That's going to put the oh God in you. But trust me, I think you're gonna get the job. They'll get the job done when it's all said and done. Notre Dame wins by at least 2 touchdowns. That's my prediction. Florio, let's move on.
And we move on to surprise, surprise, another Big Ten game for MF. But I don't think we're gonna need too much time on this one. 3:30 over on the Big Ten Network. The now number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes squaring off against the Big Ten's proverbial doormat, and I say that with love. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights, SHI Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. And working this one for the Big Ten Network, it will be Brandon Gaudin, James Laurinaitis, and Elise Menaker. And the spread favors, well, of course, it's Ohio State.
There's no spread.
It says NA. Yeah.
There's no spread.
Or maybe I can get one off my cheat sheet. Well, okay. It says NA.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you would have to imagine Ohio State's got to be a very.
It has to be at least 7 touchdowns. It has to be over 50 points. I don't see how to. I mean, come on. Ohio State last week put 73 on Maryland, for heaven's sakes.
Oof.
I mean, yeah, I could see this being close, even it could remotely be about the same amount. No doubt about it. This is going to be a comfortable win for Ohio State. If they lose this game,
you'll be laughing.
Oh my God!
You would laugh.
The whole college football playoff would absolutely go like forget it. There'd be no returning from that. Ohio State, if you lose this game to Rutgers, you're gone. It doesn't matter what you do. You're goners at that point. So no, I got Ohio State winning, Florio. Move on.
Yeah, and big if that were to happen, I know exactly what MF would do. He would channel his inner Ernie from Sesame Street and do the Ernie giggle. And we would have to pretty much put it on a 10-hour loop like a lot of people do on YouTube nowadays. So, MF, I know you'll be Ernie giggling should that happen, but let's be realistic. It's not gonna happen.
No.
Here's why. Rutgers has already been shut out 3 times this season, and its 280.3 yards of total offense per game rank 126th in the nation. If the Scarlet Knights even get on the scoreboard against a juggernaut Ohio State defense, it will be a small victory. So I got Ohio State winning, and I got them pitching a shutout. 63-0. That's it. 63 zip. Squadouche for Rutgers. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. 3:30 ABC. Here's a game that nearly ended up being another top 25 battle, but something happened. We have the now number 3 Clemson Tigers at home at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley, and they're going to be hosting the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Something happened on the way to this game for Wake. They got beat down by Virginia Tech. So that's what happened. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, Allison Williams, they have the call this game on ABC. Clemson opening up as a 34.5-point favorite. If this one turns into a shootout, Wake Forest is capable of putting some points on the board, even facing an excellent Clemson defense. However, the Demon Deacons have zero chance of slowing a Tigers offense that is averaging 45.3 points and 545.8 yards a game. The Demon Deacons were 1 win away from making this a ranked matchup with Clemson, but a thorough 36-17 beatdown from Virginia Tech knocked them from the AP Top 25. There's nothing the Hokies do that Clemson can't do better, but it's worth noting Tech won on the strength of its run game and shut out Wake Forest in the fourth quarter. look for Clemson running back Travis Etienne, 1,214 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns, and the defense, 251 yards and 11.5 points allowed a game to lead a similarly dominant performance. Clemson all day in this one. I'm going to go 52-14. Clemson takes it to Wake. And MF, what a damn shame. Wake gets upset by Va-Tech. This could have ended up being something even better.
Yeah, it did. It could have. No doubts. I gotta say it. I'm gonna go. I gotta go with Clemson. It looks like they're starting to look like the defending national champions. It took a little bit of some time. There was a couple of hiccups along the way where we were like, "Uh-oh, what's going on? This is not the same team we saw last year." And now all of a sudden, here they go. Now you're looking at a team that is definitely looking like a dangerous team, a really good team. They're peaking at the right moment, Florio, and I think Clemson will continue that big run. Clemson wins. Let's go to the next game.
And it's one of the two big ones of the week. And I mean big ones. I mean, we got several big ones. But when it comes to the big ones, this is one of the two huge ones. Major implications. The second half of the rare SEC on CBS doubleheader in its traditional time slot of 3:30. The now number 4 maiden Georgia Bulldogs squaring off against the number Auburn Tigers, Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie Erdahl, they will have it. Georgia opening up as only a 2.5-point favorite. MF, this game over the years has given us some great memories. We'll never forget that classic in 2013. Who knows? Could we be in for another instant classic with number 4 Georgia and number 12 Auburn square off?
Very possible. Very possible. Remember, you talking about that game. Auburn won, and it led them all the way to the national title. This was the start of Auburn's run to the national championship when they knocked off Georgia with the prayer of a lifetime. The pass down the field tipped off the Georgia player, got caught by the receiver by the receiver of Auburn. To the house he went, and Auburn went on to win. So, I mean, without a doubt, it's possible. Anything is possible. This is going to be very interesting to watch. This is going to be an incredible game, no doubt about it. And for Georgia, the journey and the road is now on their path. No doubt about it. Georgia needs to win this game because of the fact that all of a sudden, with that Alabama loss, Georgia now controls their own destiny. If Georgia wins out and wins the SEC championship, which it could end up being them and LSU, but if they win out, they're in. They knock Bama out. Bama will be sitting on the sidelines. They will not be playing for the college football playoff this year. So if you're Georgia, you got to do what you have to do. But Auburn is a stingy, tough, pain in the butt team that could give them all the trouble in the world. You know, like we said, remember what happened a couple of weeks ago with South Carolina. This is the same style of play that Auburn brings to the table, and they're better than South Carolina. They are better than them. So they got a better defense. They got some more devastating weapons. If they don't watch themselves, we could get an upset, and down goes Georgia again. They could. This is going to be close. This is going to be a fight. I got Georgia winning barely 27-23, but I would not be shocked if an upset happens. Anthony, Michael Bullock has joined us, so Let's catch them up.
Yes, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's catch you up on the games up to this point before we get your thoughts on Georgia and Auburn. So here we go. So here you go, Bullock. Started off with number 5 Alabama at Mississippi State.
I'll tell you what, I got Alabama winning this one big time, and you know they're steaming mad after losing such a tough one to LSU. And I feel sorry for Mississippi State, and I got a feeling it's going to be a long afternoon for them. So roll Tide, roll.
Number 9, Penn State at home against Indiana.
I got the Penn State Nittany Lions winning this one.
Number 11, Florida against Missouri. First half of a rare SEC on CBS doubleheader.
I got the Florida Gators winning this one.
Number 14, Wisconsin at Nebraska.
Oh, I got the Badgers winning this one.
Your team, number 15, Michigan at home against Michigan State.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Florio, this is definitely one of the greatest rivalries in the Big Ten, especially in college football, and especially the history with these two. And of course, Florio, we know the one we'll always remember.
2015. MF mentioned it earlier.
Oh yeah, and of course Sean McDonough, where we all thought he was going to lose his voice. I mean, didn't you think so?
Oh yeah, on the last play of the game. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but we're not going to get a repeat of that. I got Michigan winning this one this time around.
Number 22, Oklahoma State back in the top 25. They're hosting Kansas.
I got Oklahoma State winning this one.
One of our big games of the week. My team, number 16, Notre Dame at home against number 23, Navy.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game, Florio, no doubt about it. But let's face it, when Notre Dame's at home, you know you can't go against them. So I got your Fighting Irish winning this one.
Number 2, Ohio State at Rutgers.
and Florio, earlier I was reading the spread, and I was literally floored with the spread.
You found it? What is it?
It was over 50.
Of course.
Yeah, it's an easy choice. I mean, I got Ohio State winning this one. Of course, we all know Chase Young has been suspended again but you know he's going to be back in time for the big one next week.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's probably our game of the week next week. But for right now, number 3, Clemson at home against Wake Forest.
I got the Clemson Tigers winning this one.
And now the game that we're talking about right now, MF started it. Let's get your thoughts on it now. One of our big games of the week. Number 4, Georgia. Number 12, Auburn. The second half of that rare SEC on CBS doubleheader.
Boy, I mean, like you said, I think this is definitely a tough game to call here. I mean, it could basically go either way. I mean, Georgia better not take this Auburn team lightly. I mean, we've seen some real close ones in the past. I think Georgia, they just need to handle their business and do their job. If they have any snafus here, I think this is where Auburn could capitalize, I should say, and can pull off the big upset. Oh, this is tough. But I'm going to go with Georgia to win this one for now. But I would not be shocked if Auburn can pull off the upset. Will they do it? We're just going to have to wait and find out on Saturday. Florio, what's yours?
Auburn ran Georgia out of Jordan-Hare Stadium the last time the Bulldogs visited, scoring a massive 40-17 win over the number 2 team in the country. The Tigers' defense will do its part to replicate that score, attempting to limit what has been a conservative offensive attack from Georgia. The battle between Georgia's deep running back core and Auburn's defensive front will be fantastic, and will go a long way in deciding who ultimately wins the way. The kicker, though, will be the quarterback play. Bo Nix has been subject to some freshman mistakes, while Georgia's Jake Fromm has been a little more consistent. That will be the difference in this rivalry game. The Bulldogs should escape Jordan Hare with a narrow win. Although the Bulldogs defense is rolling with 2 shutouts in its last 3 games, including a 27-zip victory over Missouri last week, in which it allowed just 198 total yards. Meanwhile, Auburn piled up 507 yards against Ole Miss its last time out, but managed just 20 points. Freshman quarterback Bo Nix was picked off 3 times. Takeaways will make the difference for Georgia scoring game. A close this 24-21 Georgia. So nothing more to say on that. Let's move on to our next matchup. A little American Athletic Conference action. 3:30 on ESPN2. The number 18 Memphis Tigers on the road against the Houston Cougars at John O'Quinn Field at TD-ECU Stadium. 3:30 over on ESPN2. And we have Beth Mowins, Anthony Becht, and Rocky Boyman. They will be on the call for that game. And I believe, yes, Memphis opening up as a 10.5-point favorite. So, Bullock, let's go to Michael Bullock and let's get his thoughts on this one. Bullock, Memphis, number 18, Memphis at Houston. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, Memphis. I mean, they need all they gotta do here is basically do their job, and they should have no problem with Houston. So, I got Memphis winning this one. My final score, I am going to say 34-24 is my final score. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going with Memphis as well. Let me just check. Okay. A lot of points will be scored in this game. Memphis is averaging 41.1 points, and Houston is scoring 30.7 per contest, despite a 3-6 record. Neither team has been particularly interested in defense for most of the season, and that's unlikely to change. This will come down to whether the run-heavy Cougars can throw it around enough to keep up with the Tigers. That seems doubtful. So I'm going with Memphis in this one. High-scoring game, much higher than Bullock has it. 49-35, Memphis in a shootout over Houston. So nothing more to say. Memphis and Houston. Who do you like in this AAC matchup?
I gotta go with Memphis as well. I think they're gonna win this game as well. They had a really good one against SMU a couple of weeks ago that really delivered on so many fronts, and I think they're going to keep the hot streak going. But, keep a close eye on Houston. Houston's been known to pull an upset or two along the way, so it's not a total victory, but I do got Memphis getting the job done. I think it is going to be a high-scoring affair, Anthony, like you did. I think it's going to be a 45-35, though, and I do got Memphis winning the game, so let's move on.
Another 3:30 game, the number 19 Texas Longhorns on the road at Jack Trice Stadium against the Iowa State Cyclones. Another 3:30 kickoff, this one over on FS1. And working that one will be Brian Custer and Robert Smith. And when it comes to this spread, now I gotta check this. I gotta double check this to make absolute sure of this. Iowa State, yes, Iowa State is actually opening up as a 6.5 to 7 point favorite here. So Iowa State, okay, that's a little surprising, but let's get into this one. The Cyclones took Oklahoma to the brink last week, and they are better than their 5-4 record might suggest. Iowa State quarterback Brock Purdy threw for 282 yards and 5 touchdowns in the win, and the Longhorns' secondary has struggled all season. However, it will be a cold one in Ames, and that could neutralize the passing games. If this turns into a grinded out ground contest, Texas has the advantage. So I'm going with Texas to win this one. 32-24. Texas wins it over Iowa State. So nothing more to say. MF, Texas, they got right back on track. They picked up a big win at home against a previously ranked K-State team. Can they keep it going in Ames?
I think they will. And I'm with you on that one, Florio. I'm gonna go with Texas as well. I think it's gonna be a close one. 31-23 is my score, but I got Texas winning. So hook 'em horns. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook 'em horns as well. I got Texas winning those one as well. I expect them to keep rolling after this big victory over Kansas State, and yeah, I'm gonna go 31-24 as my final score. So let's move on to the next game, Florio.
And it's our final 3:30 kickoff. This one over on ESPN. The number 20 the now number 24 Kansas State Wildcats. They're back at home at Bill Snyder Family Football Stadium in Manhattan, hosting the Mountaineers of West Virginia. And on the call for that one will be Mark Jones, Dusty Dvoracek, and Olivia Decker. And the spread here, it favors Kansas State by 14.5. So MF, can Kansas State bounce back at home after that tough loss on the road at Texas last week?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. West Virginia is not really that good. They're 3-6. K-State should be able to get the turnaround, and they're a lot more better team than they were a year ago. Last year, West Virginia absolutely blew the doors off them, 35-6. I don't think we're going to get that this time around. I think K-State will turn it around. They'll get the win here, and they'll get right back on track. So, Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I think Kansas State's going to bounce back after that loss to Texas. And yeah, West Virginia, like you said, they're not a good team. And yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Mountaineers, especially when you're dealing with an angry Kansas State team after losing to Texas. So I got Kansas State winning this one. So, Florio, it's yours.
I don't have a full preview for this game, so I'm just going to give you a score here. 27-14, Kansas State. These guys pretty much touched on everything else. So let's just move on. Another one of our massive games of the week. 4 o'clock kickoff on Fox. Huge game in the Big Ten. The now number 8. How about this? Number 8, Minnesota Golden Gophers on the road at number 20. At the number 20 Iowa Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium. By golly, that's not going to be easy for Minnesota, let me tell you. Joe Davis, Brock Huard, Bruce Feldman, they have it. And the spread here favors Iowa by 2.5. So
I do.
It's you, Bullock. Okay.
Yep.
We saw what Minnesota did last week. Their biggest win in football in years when they upset Penn State a week ago at home. But now they got to go on the road, number 20 Iowa. If this isn't a trap game, then you tell me what is.
Yeah, I got this funny feeling that this is a trap game for Minnesota. I mean, because you're going into a place like Kinnick Stadium to face an Iowa Hawkeyes team that feeds off of playing at home. This is going to be a true test for Minnesota, and we're going to find out if this Minnesota team is for real. We're going to find that out. So they need to watch themselves, or they could be in for an upset. So this is a tough one for me to call, but you know what? We haven't had one of these in a while, guys. I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm calling for the upset. Iowa over Minnesota. I'm gonna go 30-27 is my final score. Florio, it is yours. I'm calling for an upset.
I don't blame you, Bullock. I really don't. It's at Iowa, Minnesota. We'll find out. But Minnesota remains alive in the playoff race another week, and now comes the second half of that all-important 4-game stretch to end the season. If the Golden Gophers can beat Iowa in Kinnick Stadium, it needs only to beat one-win Northwestern to clinch the Big Ten West. Coach PJ Fleck has to keep his team from peering ahead, though. The Hawkeyes are one of college football's best defensive teams, allowing an average of 289 yards and 11.7 points a game. Both teams are coming off hard games, Iowa against Wisconsin, so it could be sloppy in the beginning. But Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan, 2,100 passing yards, 21 TDs, 4 picks, should pick things up in the second half en route to what could be a big win. After a huge win against Penn State last week, the 9-0 Golden Gophers are facing another tough test during their quest to stay undefeated. The Hawkeyes surrendered 250 rushing yards to Jonathan Taylor last week and still kept things close against Wisconsin in a 24-22 loss. So they are capable of hanging tough, even if the Minnesota running game is firing on all cylinders. The undefeated run could stop here for the Gophers in what could be a classic grinded-out Big Ten game. Now, Bullock, I don't blame you calling for the upset. There's a very, very high chance it could happen. The gut's telling me it could happen. But once again, I'm going to listen to my heart on this one. Last week, Minnesota made a believer out of me. And I think they're going to do it again. So, Bullock, I respectfully disagree with you. I'm going with Minnesota to continue this magical run. 27-23. On Saturday afternoon. And man, oh man, this is going to be a fun one. So that's really all there is to say on that. So so with all that, MF, it's the age-old question. It's the age-old question here. Who do you agree with? Do you agree with Bullock in Iowa for the upset, or do you agree with me in Minnesota? They made a believer out of me last week. They made a believer out of all of us when they did the unthinkable and beat Penn State.
Yeah, they did. They did. And the thing is, that was a rivalry game. And that was a big emotional win. But, after an emotional game like that, could there be a letdown? That's the $1 million question. Could there be a letdown? I think at the end of the day, is it possible? Yes. Iowa is very dangerous at home. They are. But like you said, they actually have a chance, Minnesota does, to get into the college football playoff. It's a crazy scenario, but they actually do have a legit chance to get in. All they got to do is win out. They win all their remaining games and win the Big Ten, they can get in. So obviously, everybody believes that they can do this. It just has to be that one moment, and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. But for now, Anthony, I'm with you. I'm going to go with Minnesota to get the job done, to win this game. There's nothing more to say. It's yours.
Wow. All right. Now we're going to prime time, boys. Here we go. 7 o'clock over on ESPN. The new number one team in all the land, and rightfully so. The number one LSU Tigers on the road against the Rebels of Ole Miss at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. This one over on ESPN. And working this one, I believe it's Sean McDonough's crew for this one. Let me just, yes, it's Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe. They will be in Oxford for LSU and Ole Miss. and LSU opening up as a 20.5-point favorite. That's not a big surprise here. So what will Joe Burrow do for an encore after lighting it up against Alabama last week? The Rebels can pound the ball as they average 247.4 rushing yards a game, 14th in the FBS. But an LSU rush defense that allows just 100.7 yards a game, 13th in the FBS, should have no trouble neutralizing this threat. I really don't think this one is going to be close here, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I think Joe Burrow will take another step towards that Heisman Trophy. I think he went I think he became the front runner against Bama. So I don't think there's anything left to say on this one. 41-14, LSU all over Ole Miss. So nothing more to say. MF, what will LSU and Joe Burrow do for an encore after winning that 5-star game of the century at Bama?
Oh my goodness, how do you follow it? I don't know. I'm gonna go with them to win as well. I really got nothing else to add. I think this is gonna be a great game. So I'm gonna go with LSU to win. And Florio, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah. What can you say about what Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers did going into Alabama and beating a good Alabama Crimson Tide team in what was a 5-star game? Now the question is, what can Joe Burrow do for an encore? We're just gonna have to wait and see, but I think he's gonna have another big night here. So I got LSU winning this one big, and I'm gonna be quite honest, guys, and I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, with the way Joe Burrow is playing, and I know this may sound crazy. Do you think he should be in the Heisman Trophy conversation?
Not only is he in the Heisman Trophy conversation right now, he's my favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Like, after what he did on Saturday, there's no doubt in my mind that I would say right now Joe Burrow is the Heisman Trophy winner.
Agreed.
Hands
All
down.
right.
No arguments.
I agree too. I rest my case on it. So let's just move on, Florio.
A slight correction on the score. 41-17 LSU over Mississippi State for me, or Ole Miss rather. So let's move on here. We got, what do we got? 6 left? Yeah, 6 left. 7 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. The number 17 Cincinnati Bearcats on the road. They got a trap game of their own. They're swearing off against the Bulls of South Florida at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, home of WrestleMania 36 coming up. Oh, yeah. This one over on CBS-SN. Rich Waltz with Corey Chavis and our old friend Jenny Dell. They will be there. And Cincinnati opening up as a 13.5-point favorite. So, MF, we started with you here. Here's another game that screams trap game. Cincinnati at South Florida. That's a trap.
Yeah, it looks like a trap, smells like a trap, probably is a trap. But I kind of feel like Cincinnati might be able to weather the storm here. I don't know why. I kind of feel like they might be able to, get the job done, win this game. This is gonna be an interesting matchup, no doubt about it in my mind. Let's see here. I just want to get something quick. Just want to check something quick. The thing is, Anthony, when you got South Florida, and yes, South Florida's been good, but I mean, they're hobbling a little bit. They did lose to Temple of all teams last week, but Temple's actually really good. So no, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. Even though it definitely looks like a trap, but Cincinnati's been playing great right now. If they keep playing the way they played, who knows? They might be that representative remember, there's that one team outside of the Power Five that gets the automatic into the New Year's Six.
That's right.
Cincinnati right now is in the catbird seat. They're the ones that would get the automatic. So if they keep playing, if they keep doing what they're doing, we could see them playing in a New Year's Six bowl. Now, is that Fiesta? Is that Sugar? Could that be, what's that going to be? We don't know. But they're looking like they're going to be the team. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati to continue their hot streak. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Before we get to Bullock, though, Cincinnati has one tough game left. 2 weeks on Black Friday, they're playing Memphis, so watch out.
Oh, yeah. No. That's, definitely has to watch that game.
Whoever wins that one, I think, will be well significant as to who could be that, outside representative for the New Year's Six. So, all right, just wanted to get that off my chest. All right, Bullock, let's get your thoughts now.
Yeah, this smells like a trap game as well, but I got Cincinnati winning this one, but somehow I would not be surprised if South Florida does pull off the upset and ruin Cincinnati's chances of a New Year's Six. So, Florio, what's yours?
The Bearcats can't look ahead to their November 29th trip to Memphis just yet, but they shouldn't have any trouble with a South Florida team that has a tough time stopping the run. Cincinnati is averaging 202.4 yards a game on the ground, and the Bulls have the nation's number 98 ranked run defense at 194 yards allowed a game. Not the recipe for an upset. 27-14, Cincinnati over South Florida. All right, gentlemen. In my honest opinion, this is the real game of the week right here. And it's the ABC Saturday Night Football game of the week right here. The number 10 Oklahoma Sooners squaring off against the number 13 Baylor Bears, McLean Stadium, Waco, Texas. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor, they will have it. Oklahoma opening up as a 10.5-point favorite. Whew. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Whew. So I believe it's Bullock who starts it off. So Bullock, the game of the week. We know what Oklahoma is capable of, but Baylor. Can Baylor do the impossible? This has been a magical season for Baylor. Can they get their signature win just like Minnesota did against Penn State last week?
Yeah, this is a tough one here. I mean, this game is going to make us find out what this Baylor team is made of. If this season that are going on is for real, because they got face an Oklahoma team that, I mean, we know what this team can do offensively. So the thing is, can they match them offensively? We're just gonna have to wait and see. But man, this is a tough one for me to call, but I gotta go with the Oklahoma Sooners to win this one. It's gonna be a high scoring affair. I'm gonna go 45-42. Oklahoma barely survives the Baylor Bears. Florio, it's yours.
Agreed. Very tough. This game has massive implications for the Big 12 and playoff. A loss for either team knocks them from playoff contention, but not out of the Big 12 running. Baylor played a tough game in a 29-23 triple overtime win over TCU last week, but faces an entirely different beast in Oklahoma's offense, which ranks first and second in the country respectively in yards a game, 587, and points a game, 48.4. That said, the Sooners must play a better game after earning a narrow 42-41 win over Iowa State, which came after Oklahoma built a 21-point halftime lead. That's especially true for Jalen Hurts, who couldn't get anything going in the second half of that game. Oklahoma should rebound to knock Baylor out of the playoff running. But you know it will not be easy. It will not be easy at all. Who would have guessed this game would be so important when the season began? Baylor went 7-6 last year and is just 2 seasons removed from a brutal 1-11 campaign. The Bears have had a great year, but there's no denying they have walked the tightrope with a pair of overtime victories and an alarmingly close game against 0-9 Rice. The high-powered Oklahoma offense will prove too much for Baylor in a shootout. So I'm going with Oklahoma to win. My final score, I'm going to go 40-30. Some are saying 42-31, but no, I'm going to go 42-31. I like that better. 42-31, but 40-30 at the worst. So, but regardless of what the score is, I got Oklahoma surviving Baylor. So there's nothing more to say. MF, this is what the words main event were meant for. This is, in my opinion, the main event. Brother, it don't get no bigger than this. And the question is, we saw what Minnesota beat Penn State last week, made believers out of all of us.
Yes.
Do you think Baylor can do the same thing against Oklahoma at home?
It's very possible. I think you can't necessarily dismiss it. You can't say that, oh, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's very possible. We could get a major upset here, guys. And Baylor has been undefeated. They've been amazing. But the thing is that everybody's been talking about is that they haven't faced anybody with big implications like this one is. This is going to be huge, to say the very least. At the end of the day, Anthony, I know a lot of people are going to say Oklahoma. A lot of people are saying that Oklahoma is going to get the job done, that Oklahoma is going to win, and that they're going to end Baylor's big season. I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. But I got to say Oklahoma for now. But I would not be shocked if we see Baylor getting the job done and going from there. But no, I'm with you guys. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I think they're going to win it. And that's it. There's really nothing more to say. Anthony, let's move on.
7:30 kickoff on ESPN University. Back in the top 25, MF and Bullock's old friends, the Appalachian State Mountaineers, squaring off against the Georgia State Panthers at Georgia State Stadium. 7:30 over on the ESPN University. And working that one will be Clay Matvick and Ryan Leaf. And Appalachian State opening up as 15.5-point favorites here. So can't really say I'm surprised by that. So I think now I recall there was another game that I didn't really have a preview for, and this is one of them. So this is another game that I'm only going to have a score for. I'm trying to find that score here. Bear with me for a moment. I have Appalachian State winning. That's a given. Okay, there it is. No preview for this one. It's because this is an easy one to call. It's Appalachian State, 42-21. I got App State. So, MF, your old friends back in the top 25. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to go with App State as well. I really got nothing more to add here. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Appalachian State winning this one as well. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
Yep, and we move on to our next game. 3 left. 8 o'clock primetime kickoff over on Fox. Pac-12 action. The number 7 Utah Utes back at home at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. They're going to be hosting the resurgent UCLA Bruins after a very rough start. They've caught fire all of a sudden. They're 4-5. So they go into Utah for that one. On the call for that will be Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, and Coley Harvey. And the spread favors Utah by 21.5. So MF, I mean, that Pac-12, Utah and Oregon, they're still going.
They got to keep winning. They got to keep winning. They got to keep winning. That's the key word. They have to keep doing what they're doing. They cannot falter. Neither team can falter. If Utah gets there, if Oregon gets there at the end, there's a chance that they could both sneak in, or one of them could sneak in and get to the college football playoff. But they need some help. They got to have one of the big three fall along the way. That means either Ohio State's got to get tripped up, LSU's got to do the unthinkable and lose along the way, or Clemson has to trip up. Then you got to hope that Bama loses one more time, because Bama's right there. They're sniffing around, and they could steal a spot. So there's a lot of ways that this could go, but that's the way I'm thinking about it right now, Florio, and there's really nothing more for me to add. So Utah wins. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Fletch just mentioned. So I got Utah winning as well. So Florio, it's yours.
UCLA has won 3 straight, including a victory over then-ranked Arizona State on October 26th. So the Bruins should not be taken lightly. However, they will have a tough time moving the ball against a staunch Utah defense that leads the nation in stopping the run at just 56 yards a game. Expect a big day from the Utes passing attack against a defense that has allowed 294.3 yards a game through the air, 123rd in the FBS. Utah, easy win. I'll say 31-10, Utah over UCLA. 2 games left, and we move on. 10:15 kickoff over on ESPN2. The number 21 Boise State Broncos back at home on the Smurf turf of Albertson Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Lobos of New Mexico. On the call for this one on ESPN2 will be Mike Corey and Renee Ngalia. And Boise opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. Bullock, I think we all know who wins this one here.
Oh yeah, it's the Boise State Broncos. I mean, there is no way they're losing this game on the Smurf turf. So, Florio, what's yours?
Absolutely, it's Boise. No doubt about this. The last 3 games have been a struggle for Boise State. The Broncos suffered their first loss of the season on October 19th to BYU, allowed 42 points to San Jose State 2 weeks ago, and needed overtime, if you can believe it, to beat Wyoming last week. Luckily, New Mexico shouldn't put up much of a fight. The Lobos have the nation's worst passing defense by a wide margin at 340.4 yards allowed a game, and the Broncos should have no problem exploiting that weakness. 42-13, all Boise, all the time. MF, unanimous?
Unanimous. I'm going Boise. Guys, yeah, next game.
And it's the final game. And it's something I know MF loves a lot. Pac-12 After Dark. Here we go. 10:30 kickoff on ESPN. The number 6 Oregon Ducks at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. And they're going to be hosting the Arizona Wildcats. And on the call for that one, it'll be Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luganbill. And in Oregon, also opening up as a 27.5-point favorite. The Ducks are sitting pretty at number 6 in the latest AP Top 25, and it's likely they'll be even higher in the next set of playoff rankings after the losses to Alabama and Penn State. But that's a double-edged sword. Oregon mustn't falter under the pressure that comes with controlling one's playoff destiny. That shouldn't be an issue this week against a 4-5 Arizona team that surrenders 481 yards per game, 124th nationally. Justin Herbert and company should feast on the Wildcats' porous defense, but Arizona can move the ball up and down the field too. Oregon will give up some big plays, but assuming the Ducks avoid a complete meltdown, they should win by a comfortable margin. And let me find it. Yeah, this game will get out of hand quickly. The Wildcats are one of the nation's worst defensive teams, allowing 37.3 points and 481.2 yards a game. And the Ducks just put 56 points on USC last week. Senior quarterback Justin Herbert has thrown for 2,329 yards and 24 touchdowns on the year. And he'll pad those stats considerably in a lopsided Oregon win. So I will go 49-17, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona keeps it close. But I think it'll be a higher scoring game than people think. 45-27, Oregon over Arizona. MF, we talked about Utah needing to keep the heat on. Oregon and Eric Carrier need to do the same thing.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right about that as well. But I do believe that Oregon will be able to get to keep the heat on and everything else. So yeah, I got Oregon winning as well, and there's really nothing more to say. So yeah, it's all yours, Smith. Bullock.
Yeah, I got Oregon winning this one as well. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. So Florio, let's just put a bow on this edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday.
A very exciting edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. So many incredible games. I mean, Saturday's going to be hella fun to watch, and I cannot wait. You know, from start to finish, it's going to be an amazing day of great action. And next week, here on College Football Thursday, I mean, we got another biggie. I mean, what else is there to say except Penn State and Ohio State? I don't think there's anything else. We've also got Texas against Baylor as well. And you could probably throw in Michigan against Indiana as well. I mean, that could be an interesting game. So, but of course, the two big ones next week, Texas and Baylor, the two, but obviously the game of the week next week, it's Penn State and Ohio State. So that's next week here on College Football Thursday. But right now, let's bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher. Let's set the table for the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. A very interesting segment has been announced. Daniel Bryan on Miz TV. Oh, boy.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have to find out what's going to happen there. Not only that, but the teams are still getting formed. SmackDown team has already been announced. And actually one added thing, plus also we got a lot going on as well. We got, the SmackDown recap. And I know you NWA fans, you're like, where is my power? Don't worry, you're getting it tomorrow. We're going to give you power. There's no way we're going to stop it on this one. This needs to be talked about, guys. Power, the hottest thing on the internet today. Old school studio wrestling that the people loved back in the NWA days in the 1980s. It's back with a vengeance, and there's some really good stuff going on. So nothing more to say. 10:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Anthony, take it home.
Yeah, certainly will, MF. That Miz and Bryan segment, that should be hella interesting, especially with the news I dropped on you boys earlier in our chat group. But nonetheless, tomorrow night, the all new Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Braves Fan 95. We'll review Friday night SmackDown, and MF will give us his thoughts on the latest editions of NWA Power. Saturday, we'll have NFL Saturday right back here on the Tome 25. Some great matchups, but the two big ones of next week, no question about it. The New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl 52 rematch. The Tony and Mikey game of the week, oh, by the way. And, of course, the other big one, also on our side of the ledger. How great is that? The Houston Texans against the Baltimore Ravens. So, two big ones right there, along with some other good action as well. And tonight, the Cleveland Browns. How about it, guys? The Cleveland Browns. With a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you can,
yeah, but the thing is, Florio, the big story was how the game ended, which
yeah, it's a horrible situation, a brawl, a nasty brawl broke out. We'll get into it tomorrow, Anthony.
Saturday.
We'll get into it Saturday. Let's just say there was some very unsportsmanlike conduct that happened at the end of the game. We'll definitely talk about it privately, but yeah, suspensions and fines are definitely coming.
Yeah, absolutely. So very sad, but the Cleveland Browns did pick up the win though, 21-7. So maybe they're turning the corner now. We'll see. But that's on Saturday with the NFL Saturday, and then Next week, folks, Survivor Series week. Go home week for Survivor Series. It starts Monday night with Ridiculously Raw here on the Tone 25. Monday Night Raw, go home show for Survivor Series. TD Garden, the TD Garden in Boston. You know that's always fun when they go to Boston, no doubt about that. And of course, my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling as always. And then Wednesday Night Mayhem, NXT's go home show for the Survivor Series, as well as AEW Dynamite. This show next week, College Football Thursday. You already know the two biggies right there: Penn State and Ohio State, and Texas and Baylor. So much to look forward to. Very exciting content, no doubt about it. So we're getting there, friends. We're getting there. We're at the home stretch. So that's it. So until tomorrow night with MF over on Braves Fan 95 for the all-new Cerebral Smack Talk Friday night edition, it's Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, Didi Woodson, and always and forever, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. Be blessed. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Week 12 of Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. And bye, everybody. Bye.